Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is this beautiful card. I've used the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set together with the coordinating Seaside Seashells dies. I've also given my cardstock a pearlescent finish, which looks absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to show you how I did it. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. I have a mat here of Pretty Peacock cardstock, and this is exactly the same size as the front of my card base. Because my previous card was in a light blue colour, I thought I'd show you what the pearlescent finish looks like on our dark card. The product I'm using to create the pearlescent finish is our shimmer paint. Now this is actually a product by Eco. And it's in Frost White. It's an all-purpose ink. Now ours is retiring, but you can still buy this product elsewhere. Before starting, you want to give the little pot a really good shake. There's tiny ball bearings in there which helps the paint mix. Then you want to pour out a drop onto a non-porous surface. I'm just using a little paint palette. Now I'm probably not pouring enough to cover the whole of the card, but that's okay because you can layer this. I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to give 2 little squirts of just plain water, and then I'm going to mix that together with my sponge. And as I'm mixing, I'm picking up the paint and I'm going to spread that all over the front of this mat. And I can tell straight away that I haven't got enough paint here. Actually, with hindsight, I think if I'd have dampened my sponge before I started, that would have helped me be able to spread the paint better. So I'm going to use what I've got, and then I can pour another drop. Again, I'm going to mix it with a little water. This just helps it spread and go a bit further. So I'm going to mix the paint again and pick it up with a sponge and then cover the front of the card, and this is going much better, so I can see I've got enough to cover that front of the mat. Okay, you want to make sure you don't get any fingerprints on it if you can help it, although I'm going to die cut this, so it's not too much of a problem if I do. And then you want to leave it to dry, and that might take a minute or two depending on how much water you used. Once the mat's completely dry, then you can die cut it, and I'm using the large die from the Seaside Seashells set. And this is how it looks after I've die cut it. You can see that beautiful pearlescent sheen. Next, I'm going to emboss the panel using the Seashells 3D embossing folder, and this matches the die cut perfectly. Just take your time and line it up so it's spot on, and then when you're ready, run it through your die cut and embossing machine. And this is how it looks once it's been done. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? I love this product suite. Here is the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. Now I'm using this sentiment day, and I'm using most of the detailed images, plus some of the sort of splodgy images that I'll use to colour in my detail images. I'm going to stamp the sentiment on a scrap of normal weight basic white card, and I'm using Pretty Peacock ink. The inks I'm going to use for the seashells are Sahara Sand for all the detail images, and then I'll be using So Saffron, Pool Party, Petal Pink and Soft Sea Foam for the colours. The colours will all be stamped off first before I stamp them over the images, and this will give a much subtler tone. To start with, I'm going to stamp all the shells using Sahara Sand ink onto a scrap piece of normal weight basic white card. And I'm just stamping one of each of the shells. The largest shell will be Inso Saffron, so remember I'm going to stamp it off first before stamping over the detailed image. And you can see that the tone you get is very subtle. Next, I'm going to use Pool Party, and I'm going to colour the two smaller shells using this, again stamping off each time. Finally, I'm going to do the remaining shell using Petal Pink. All that remains now is the starfish. Now this one doesn't have a block stamp to colour it in with, so I'm using the largest block stamp and soft seafoam ink and stamping that first, and then using Sahara Sand ink I'm going to stamp the starfish over the top. The sentiment will be die cut using one of the stitched So Sweetly dies, and it's the 4th size down or the 3rd size up in this set. To cut out the smallest shell and also the starfish, I can use dies from the Seaside Seashells die set. If you really want to, you can use the large die in this set to die cut the remaining shells, but they won't die cut all the way round. Okay, they will match up perfectly, but what this die produces is a complete panel, so there's bits that are still joined, so you'd have to trim those away. So I find that it's just as quick and a lot less faffing to hand cut these 3 out. My card base is in Sahara Sand. This is half a standard sheet of card, scored in the middle and folded to create a portrait card. For inside the card I have a basic white mat, and I'm just going to decorate this with a strip of designer series paper in Pretty Peacock from our in colour 6-inch stack. This is actually a retired design. I then have my die cut and embossed panel, my sentiment which I've added dimensionals onto the back, and then all the shells. And that's my card complete. Quite quick and very simple to create. And that lovely pearlescent sheen is just beautiful. Now here's another look at my original card. The blue I used here was Seaside Spray. All the colours I used for the shells were the same as I've just shown you, and the sentiment was stamped with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Now I have made a third card, and this one is slightly different. It was actually the first one I created. The back panel here is in Rococo Rose, and I didn't die cut it. I just embossed it, and I added a basic black panel underneath it just to separate it more from the Sahara sand. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.